of course, you all know that the publisher of this newspaper is a staunch member of our party, the APC, and actually was one of the presidential aspirants. So coming to leadership was a matter of course. So actually I'm here also to thank you very much, the entire stable of leadership, for your unflinching support during the election. I know that Nnamdi is not here. I know that many times I will shout at Nnamdi and say, please give us a full pay tomorrow, and we had no money. You remember very well. Or at times I will be quarreling with Nnamdi and say, oh God said you should give us this, we'll pay later. Because some of them we are yet to pay. But that's APC, not me. So please, well, honestly, so I'm here this morning. So to thank you. I can't thank you enough. I know the risk, in particular, the leadership newspaper, took on our behalf. I know that on many occasions we forced you to reject some adverts, and these adverts, this wraparound, they were very, very attractive. They were paying about 8 million to 40 million, and you gave us our own for 2 million. I still remember the figures. So for me, really, leadership is home. But I've come here today in realization of the fact that the Hausa publication of leadership, that is as effective as the national leadership newspaper. And I've been told by the editor that you've been on for almost 9 years, if I'm correct? Yeah. And you are playing what I call, a public service. It's a public service because it's part of your attempt to an effort to deepen democracy. It's part of your effort to make sure that those who are not as literate, or at least I won't say literate, at least not literate in the English language, are also kept abreast of news. So to that extent, again, I thank you very much. The Hausa leadership, I'm aware, has a lot of leadership. I've been told that your circulations are almost over 20,000, and for a print, that's quite an appreciable number. And then your portals are always, full. You are well followed on your website, on your Facebook account. So coming here really is because I also want to take advantage of that platform to even reach more of the grassroots people. Our party, like somebody said, which is very true, I think we were voted into power largely by the common people. I think it was overwhelming support we got from them more than anything. We were not the favorite of the elites, clearly not. But we've always remained the favorite of the common people, especially the candidate, our president today. So we must also keep faith with them. It is part of our efforts to ensure that there's no disconnect between us and the government, that we have chosen to extend, our platform to include indigenous publications like yours, because we know that out there they are very worried, they are very concerned, and they must not be kept in the dark. We owe them the duty to explain to them what challenges we are facing. We owe them a duty to let them know that we will not disappoint them, that hope is still there. And this is one of the reasons why we are here today, and we believe that we are on the right platform. Yesterday, we launched or kick-started our campaign against corruption. Before, if you remember, the president campaigned on 3 main legs. He pledged to fight terrorism, he pledged to fight corruption, and he pledged to restore our economy in a manner that would, in a very inclusive manner, that would create more jobs, create wealth, and provide employment for our youth. And I think on the campaign against terrorism, we must commend our military for a job well done. On the 8th of December, shortly after I came back from Bama, Kondoga, Kauri, and Maiduguri, I also addressed a press conference in which I implored the media to assist us in the National Security Awareness Campaign. At that press conference, I appealed to the media to help us provide the missing link in the war against terrorism, because by and large, the military have done their bit, and I'm happy that even yesterday in as far away UAE, the president also confirmed that the Boko Haram have been beaten to a fall back position today. Yes, we are going to have for quite some time, or a short while, some lone wolf attack. In any insurgency, when they are on their way out like this, they always attack soft targets like markets, mosques, motor parks, place of entertainment, and the like. And this is why we have started our national security awareness campaign, asking people to, do they know what an IED is, asking them to be vigilant. If you see something, say something. And I think it's been playing very well on radio and on television. We would, in the next couple of weeks, resume the print aspect of this campaign. However, we are here today to seek the support of the media in another campaign, which is the fight against corruption. And I would, please, if you would just permit me, I will simply go straight to the text, the prepared text, which I read yesterday, which has been largely covered, but which I believe probably will, will still be relevant for the Hausa publication. And after which, of course, I'm going to take questions from the board. Gentlemen, we are here today because of another patriotic call to duty. We want the media to once again lead the campaign to sensitize Nigerians to take possession of another war, this time the war against corruption. There's the wrong impression out there that the war against corruption is being fought only by the president or the federal government or the governing or progressive Congress. This is not true. There's also the wrong impression that the war against corruption is nothing but a vendetta, and that is just nothing than, an attempt to decimate the opposition. This is very false. Let's take the latest issue of the $2.1 billion arms deal as an example. One thing is clear, which is that funds meant to fight terrorism, funds meant to procure arms, funds meant for the welfare of our soldiers were diverted for another war, which was the war to re-elect former President Jonathan. So far, based on what we know, on admission of all those who have been accused of sharing this money, not one of them who has been accused of partaking in the sharing of the funds has denied receiving money. All they have done so far is to give reasons, sometimes very ridiculous ones, as to why they partook in the sharing of the money. One of them said that he collected 4.5 billion for spiritual purposes. Another said he received 1.2 2.1 billion naira for publicity. Yet another said that yes, he took 13 billion naira because he wanted to pay somebody to buy land for the Maritime University. Based on these revelations, we ask you, should we just fold our arms and allow these people to go away with public funds? Is anybody even thinking about the innocent soldiers who are sent to the early graves simply because they were denied necessary weapons to defend themselves? What about the families they left behind? What about the widows and the orphans? What about those who lost their means of livelihood as a result of terrorist, attacks? What about the millions of Nigerians, especially women and children, who are scattered all over IDP camps today? Is it not clear that the cruel fate that has befallen these people is a direct result of the misappropriation of these funds? No one is better placed than you to appreciate the fallout of this large-scale corruption. And you see, it's about time that we start putting corruption in its true perspective. What is the cost of this corruption to Nigerians? The truth of the matter is that corruption has stifled our economy. It has hindered the fight against poverty. It has led to decay in infrastructure. It has lowered life expectancy for Nigerians. And it has stunted the fight against maternal and infant mortality. That's why we're here today, to seek your support. That after insecurity, the greatest problem Nigeria is facing today is corruption. The situation is very grim, gentlemen. For example, between 2006 and 2013, just 55 people allegedly stole a total of 1.34 trillion naira. That's more than a quarter of last year's national budget. Out of the stolen funds, 15 governors alone were responsible for stealing 146.8 billion naira. 4 former ministers allegedly stole 7 billion naira. 12 former public servants, both at state and federal level, allegedly stole 14 billion naira. While 8 people in the banking industry allegedly stole 524 billion naira. And 11 businessmen between them stole 653 billion naira. I know people have challenged me. What is the source of your figures? And I tell them, they are just being lazy. These figures are already in public domain. All anybody that wants to check is go and see who are those that are being charged, who are before EFCC and various courts between 2006 and today. You get their names and the funds against their names. So these are figures that all we have done is just put together. They are in the public domain already. Now, what do these figures mean? You see, because when people hear 600 billion naira, 500 billion naira, I mean, what would this money have done to improve our lives? In other words, what is the cost of these stolen funds to Nigeria? Using World Bank rates and costs, if only 1/3 of these funds are recovered, it will build 635 kilometers of road, in addition to building 36 ultra-modern hospitals, one for each state. It will educate 3,974 children up to university level, even if at a cost of 25 million per each student. It will build 183 schools, and it will build 20,062 flats of 2-bedroom units. This is the money that a few people, just 55 in number, allegedly stole within a period of just 8 years. If we should include what was stolen between 2013 and today, we'll be talking about almost 3 trillion naira. Because it's all we are talking as nobody has even captured the so-called the $20 billion missing and all kind of things. But it's not captured. These are simply cases that were instituted in courts between 2006 and 2013. Naturally, in any decent country, this kind of revelation would elicit national outrage. But here, what do we hear here? Silly statements like, no, don't mind them. The government is just fighting opposition, or the government is engaging in vendetta. See, the truth of the matter is that irrespective of your political, religious, or tribal leanings, and not mind whether you are APC, PDP, Labour, or SDP, if you have stolen public funds, you must return them because you won't go scot-free. Everyone and every arm of government must rise up to be counted in this fight. Because as the president always says, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. And I've just, tried to illustrate how corruption has been killing us. Those 600 kilometers of roads, if only they are in Nigeria today, I'm sure we will be traveling better. If those 36 ultra-modern hospitals are in place today, there will be less maternal or infant mortality. If only 1/3 of those monies were here today, there will be very few indigent students. So it's clear that corruption after insecurity is the biggest challenge we are facing in Nigeria today. And of course here, everybody is involved. This is not Buhari's war. Neither is it the APC's war. It's a war for all Nigerians. And we also appeal to the judiciary to assist us in fighting this war. Our research has shown that when there are two kind of cases in our courts. There are the low-profile cases involving little-known people, and there are the high-profile cases involving politicians and big men society. When these cases involved low-profile, it lasts between 34 days and probably 10 years. That is the average. When it involves high profile, it lasts between 7 years and infinity. It's not as if that the FCC has not recorded some convictions. They have. As a matter of fact, between 2006 and 2013, from my research, they've recorded 117 convictions and closures. But believe me, of this 117, only about 7 are high profile. So again, this is another problem we have. So this is what we are asking the judiciary to assist us. Because the method now, and this is what really goes on, there will be a lot of, a lot of grandiose announcement of arrest, grandiose announcement of arraignment. Then what happens afterwards? Bail is granted. At times, bail is even granted at times for ridiculous things like medical treatment, or even or even to go and perform religious duties. It's nauseating. A man has stolen millions of naira. He has the guts to go back to court and say, "Release my passport. I want to go for religious pilgrimage." But that actually, honestly, this is subject for another day. So please, like I said, everyone, every arm of government must be involved in the fight against corruption, which is one of the cardinal principles of this administration. Irrespective of what anyone may say, President Buhari is leading this fight by example, and is leading from the front. His unparalleled integrity, his uncommon love of country, and his undiluted dedication to service all put him in a good state to fight this war. And we must all support him and own the war in order to ensure its success. Like I said again, this is not Buhari's war. Neither is this just APC's war. This war is Nigeria's war. Equally important to the source of the war is the judiciary. Unless everybody in the judiciary joins in waging this war, the pending cases of corruption will just drag on until they outlast this administration, even if it spends 8 years. Like I've explained to you, when higher profile cases are involved, the minimum time it takes for one conviction is 7 years. In the days ahead, we intend to carry this sensitization program to all the corners of the country, leveraging on the wide reach of the National Retention Agency. We also intend to partner with other agencies of government, especially the anti-corruption agencies and the police, as well as the Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption. As I said earlier, we will be working closely with the media in this campaign, and we have no doubt that the media will replicate the support they are giving us in the ongoing national security awareness campaign. We have no doubt that if Nigerians know the true cause of corruption to their lives and well-being, they will be less susceptible to swallowing frivolous, self-serving, and orchestrated distractions from the corrupt people and their benefactors and beneficiaries. We must kill corruption before it kills us. Gentlemen, like I said, this press statement actually officially kick-started our national sensation campaign, and the campaign will run all through the life of this administration. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Editor-in-Chief, clarifications,
Okay. Like you rightly pointed out, that is almost 10 by September precisely. The paper will be 10. And I'm not used to kind of blow my trumpet, but sometimes it becomes necessary to say a word or two. We have had a lot of achievements before now. Enabling people go to a lot of Hausa communities rely on the vernacular mediums to be informed of what is happening in the government, and we dedicate this medium to give our own quota in public awareness, creating awareness based on our mission statement, which is quite spelled out. Leadership came a long time, and we single-handedly, the paper played a role in the infected third term, 2003, 2007, 2000. And that's the antecedents where we took upon. Over the years, our paper kept on going through national issues and equally sensitizing the grassroots, who are almost at the receiving end. Most of them believe what they hear from their radio, local radio, and what they read on the paper. And now this campaign is ours. However, the minister should also know that while trying to create a kind of joint venture in this forum, that managing a paper is not just something that people will take easily. If I look at my cover story, the cover price is 100 naira, and before you produce a copy of it, costs you about 150 to 170 naira. You give it out to an agent at the rate of 70 naira. So this is just to say that the paper survives by commitments, and there is none like adverts and supplements from the Hausa, from the vernacular papers. Is there. The records are there. And again, upon all this, the papers play an important role in meeting out and creating awareness to the grassroots. So I hope at the end of this meeting with the minister, we'll be able to work together in making things work the right way. Campaign against corruption is not just the president's work, just like you said. It's a tax by all. We are ready to work with you and work with all government agencies like we are doing before. So at this venture, before we commence some question and answer sessions, I wish to thank the minister once more for giving us this opportunity to hear us out and discuss with us. Thank you.
Include the Hausa, publication in all our, programs, and when adverts are given to national newspaper, we also give to them, because we know that you need to survive, and you survive only via, advertisements. I admitted that I was so carried away in my fight against corruption. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister, once again to our midst.
Thank
and
you.
we must commend that you are doing a very good job.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure, like I wrote in my column last Friday, every sane Nigeria should jump on the bandwagon of fighting corruption. And one of the things I actually hammered on was the change we need. I think everybody should go back to the family. It's disgraceful. It is immensely embarrassing to start to have a father and son arranged. For me, it's like, hey, the future of this country has been mapped out for stealing, and the next actors are being groomed to do that. We're teaching our sons to collect fish without going fishing. I said that much in that column, and I'm like, where are we going to start from? It's something that I feel that the corruption has actually, it is so deep that people don't even realize, they can't even define the concept to themselves. So they fail to realize the impact of it on our society, on our development, on our entire system, on entire group. And this is very, very disheartening. So when you launch this fight against corruption, I think we have a lot to do. The media will have to contribute, and then strategies will have to start throwing out. How do we reach the common man? So I'm glad you're reaching out to the Hausa newspaper, a platform, a vernacular paper that sells a lot. They don't print a lot, but actually they sell a lot, and people actually demand for it. A lot of people don't get it. And another thing is, I hope in the fight against corruption we'll be able to latch on to culture, because if we go into culture, we may necessarily have to start looking at people designing. We'll start designing our outlooks towards rejecting the illegalities that have been pushed down our throats, that people are beginning to accept as legal. Because if we go down to culture, we will now be using things like emirate councils, like unit councils at the grassroots, so that when they're going to do their presentations, which I know, for example, in emirate councils they have avenues to tell people, look, this is what is right. Via even the common daba that we look at, there's a way you can really reach out, organize it in a way that portray, look, we are with you out there, this is what is right. This is the way you start thinking. So I hope we'll be able to reach out to this. And then we'll also be able to reach out, other than the councils, at the people, at the gatherings. You have things like the what do you call it, madrasa. But the madrasa in a study has the Ajami language. It also has what you call the cultural orientation. It teaches you ethics, and you need to imbibe what we are fighting now into those ethics that are being taught to them, because that's where you find children that are 5 years or 10 years, 5, 7, up to 15, 16. That part had been allowed to be eroded, but we need to get them to reintroduce it. It's a cultural thing, and I'm sure something similar happens in other parts of the country. So if we look deep, if the cultural aspect looks deep, if the information looks deep, National Orientation Agency, the question I wrote is, where are they? Because it's their responsibility to look deep and start pinning into these avenues. They can't do it alone. You need it. It's going to consume a lot of resources, but they also need to generate resources to do that. And the cultural, the tourism also needs to generate resources to do that. And the way you can do this is to get into these places that have your tourism attraction, building your ethics, and come in and make sure you generate enough revenue to sustain it. That's just my humble contribution to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The general reorientation campaign, which we decided to start, Change Begins With Me, that we intend to launch either at the tail end of this quarter or the beginning of the second quarter. This Change Begins With Me campaign is going to be along the line of the old war against indiscipline. But this time around, it's going to concentrate more on each individual. And through this Change campaign, Begins With Me campaign, we are going to inculcate into Nigerians the values of honesty, the values of punctuality, the values of transparency, the values of hard work and like. So we are really taking on a very huge challenge, and like Ajia said, we see culture as a veritable vehicle, for these campaigns, and we are also leveraging on the faith-based organizations, on the community development associations, on the what I call the various well, I wouldn't say tribal associations, but cultural groups and the various ethnic associations, because at the village level, values are still respected. It's when you get to the urban area where anonymity gives everybody a blanket cover. This is where values start getting blurred. In my village, and I'm sure in your village today, there are certain taboos. In my village today, you can't just come and start riding a Rolls Royce. They will ask you the source of your wealth. But in Lagos, you can start riding an aircraft and nobody's going to ask you any question. Now, so we must not ignore those, veritable vehicles. I remember when I was much younger and Nigeria changed from driving from left to right. It was one of the most successful, operations in the world. Despite the level of literacy in those days, there was no single accident recorded. Because in that campaign, they made use of even local musicians. They made use of local platforms. So, like Ajia said, we must go back and leverage on our culture, but also we have challenges. Ajia spoke about, this tourism. You are right. We are supposed to go to Obudu. And we know that if you go to Obudu today by air, it takes another 1 week for another aircraft to come and bring you back. So we have been cracking our brains, our heads, say, look, how do we get to Obudu and come back? We can't afford to sleep in Obudu for 1 week, and you have 6 hours of very tortuous roads. And unknown to many people, the wild park in Cross River is the most unique in the entire world, because it's the only wild park that escaped the last glaciation. So it's over 1 million years old, and the biodiversity in that wild park is superior to any in the world. But how do we preserve it? So these are the challenges that we are facing. But despite that, we'll continue to forge on, and we'll see how we can make the best of a bad situation. Thank you, Tony. Yes.
Okay. In regard response to this view of
you see, those proffering that advice, that's corruption fighting you back. No better example. Because can they guarantee that if those who have stolen our money today are forgiven, that this government will last 1 year? These people are richer than government. They have so much money in their hands that they can afford. They have television stations, they have radio stations, they have newspapers. I now want them to say, go and sin no more. Of course they know they are threatened, and they'll fight back. And then what example are you setting? Then our minister will say, they stole their own, they are allowed to go. You don't want me to steal my own? So I don't think it's a very sound advice, frankly speaking. We must. It's tough. It's tough what we are embarking upon, but no nation has ever survived without facing this kind of challenge. You see, this government may not be the most popular in the eyes of the people, especially the corrupt people. But in the eyes of the common man, we are doing what we think can guarantee them better life. Even the 2016 budget is a threat if we can't block the leakages, the duplications, the extravagance, the leakages. Is the bane of our economy. If we can stop corruption, believe me, it will not make a difference whether you are selling crude for $10 or $1. After all, there are many countries today that they don't have 1 drop of oil. Japan does not have 1 single natural resources. Wealth is created from the brain. Because even if you have, can you imagine if we had crude and some people did not think how we are going to extract it from the soil? Some people did not think how you can add value to it. It will just be like sand, useless. Even sand is not useless because you use it for building. So it's the fact that you can add value to any product that makes a difference. I will tell an example of what Asiodu told me. Asiodu said in 1957 when he bought his first car, it was a 403. He bought it for £600. So that was the cost of 1 ton of cocoa in 1957. That today, if he's going to buy a similar car, he's going to pay at least $30,000. How much does a ton of the same cocoa cost today? Only $3,000. Whereas a ton of chocolate costs $50,000. So just because they are able to add value to our own cocoa, they take it from us at $3,000 and they give it back to us at $50,000. So until you can actually add value to any resources, any natural resources, it's not useful to you. So it's not about oil. Those who are buying our oil and dictating the price don't have oil. Most of them. So we must start thinking out of the box. I don't agree that we should let them just go and they will not, because they want to be back in government. They're going to just make sure that this government does not rest. Yes, thank you, sir. Oh, sorry. Conscience of Nigerians, our lawyers, our judges, the media. Look, if what is morality for a lawyer defending a patently corrupt person and not using the same legal ability to defend his nation? Now, is the human right of those 55 people who have stolen 1.34 trillion naira in 8 years, are their human rights better, greater than the human rights of 170 million Nigerians who have been deprived the right to better life? It's a moral issue. Is the end of justice better served by just relying on Section 36(5) of the Constitution to allow known criminals to get bail? Let me tell you what happens. When they get bail, the first thing they do, they go back to the same court and they ask their lawyers to file a motion for the release of their international passport. I won't mention names. There's a particular governor, ex-governor, went to court, asked and argued that they should give him international passport on the ground that he had high cholesterol. Me too, I have high cholesterol. And it was granted. Honestly, I will give you this. This is documented. This was in 2008. He didn't come back to the country until 2013. And every time this case came up, his lawyer would say he was still in hospital. Have you noticed that in recent times, all the accused people, they go either in crutches or in wheelchairs? They were never sick before they were accused, though. Now, so to me, you have to balance human rights of all of us. I'm not saying we are going to be dictators. But let Nigerians please... How can the human rights of 55 people be more than that of 100 million people? This is the question for all of us. And I think, again, the media, and I call on the media, you often see them even celebrating these corrupt people and showing sympathy to them. If only they know that because of this killing, 40% of our children will never reach the age of 5. Ajia, you know what I'm talking about. That especially where I come from, the northern part of Nigeria, 40% of our infants will die before they are 5. Simply because we have no access to medical care. we have no access to potable water. This is the real cause of corruption. And they're talking about human rights. Look, I'm a lawyer. And I believe in human rights. But you cannot, human rights is not a shield for corrupt people. It's not being used as a shield for corruption. Thank you.
My name is Mubarak.
The matter is that we did a survey. 24% of corruption is government. 76% is private sector. All right. Very correct. You see, this is why the campaign we are running, which we say change begins with me, you're going to touch each and every one person without the aid of the private sector. Because they are going to give the money in one bank, you transfer it to another bank. That's so correct.
Mr. Minister, sir, exploring those.
And actually, all the figures, if you take your time today and go to our course, or even go to FCC, you will see the names of all the people, all those 55 people. You will see how much they are accused of embezzling. You will see the lawyer defending them. But what I'm saying that since 2006 till date, these 55 people are walking the streets free. Only 7 of them have been convicted. Tarfa, the former IG, the former governor of Edo State, Lucky, this Anajaba also. Only about 7 of them.
I feel things like Proceeds of Crime Act and whistleblowing should be attended to, so that to send red signal to people. You know these are the penalties for performing corruptly in office, so that you will not be able to do that again. If those acts were signed into law, I think you go a long way to institutionalize corruption. What is your government doing in that?
Honestly, we need to do a lot. And there are many recommendations which are pending, approval. One, it's been recommended that we should create special courts for corruption. But you need National Assembly to do so. Pending that, you could do other things, for instance. One of the easiest ways to truncate justice is frequent transfer of judges who are handling corruption cases. Corruption is so strong, so rich, so powerful, that when they see that this judge is not corruptible, they will arrange for him to be promoted upstairs. Court of Appeal. I can tell you, judges that were promoted not because they were due, but because they said, if this man stays longer, he's going to convict us. They promoted to Court of Appeal. And once you promote a judge, you start the case de novo. So we know what the challenges are. You see, we computed all the money voted for EFCC between 2006 and 2013. It was only 48 billion naira. And you want them to recover 1.3 trillion naira. For those 8 years, EFCC received only 48 billion naira for their staff and everything. At a point in time, I don't know, one of them was giving evidence in court, before Senate committee, and said, as I'm speaking, we don't have more than 2 million naira in our accounts. You remember? Meanwhile, the people they are prosecuting, they can employ 5 SANs. No SAN would charge less than 10 million naira. So these are the challenges. We know. And then there's the issue also of some bad eggs in the judiciary.
This change of government is their child. They will tell you in Hausa, kunce mai sak. That sack and some syndrome of voting APC from the top all through. They did it. And they will always tell you, yes, kunce mai sak, mai sak. And now, kunyumana chak. Meaning that now they are at the receiving end. This is their own perception. We're talking about the grassroots. So in the course of fighting and creating awareness about corruption, I don't know, I don't know whether you just have to make this out of your schedules. This war should not end in televisions, in some conventional newspapers. Of course, the grassroots, our papers will go deep on it. But then, there are so many things left aside. Reaching to the grassroots, talking to them one-on-one. They thought this change will come overnight.
I know.
When they both of them stood up for Buhari, they will tell you before, from 2003 through 2015, they know Buhari as mai gaskiya. They will tell you, say mai gaskiya, say Baba, and this is the revolution. Now, a lot of other agencies like yours, like Hajia pointed out, the National Orientation Agency is silent. So many things are not done the right way. If this fight is for real, then the minister should know that, and the ministry, of course, should know that apart from all these ways we are talking about, so many things need to be done, even if it is if it means pamphlets, house to house contacts, and making all this, because a lot need to be done. My paper cannot reach 170 Nigerians.
No.
Putting like for now we have 3 vernacular papers.
Yes.
We have Trust, we have Raria is comatose. We don't know whether they are still.
Don't let them hear that I was there yesterday.
Armenia is Trust.
So
Armenia.
now, if you put up all these papers on the table, they cannot reach out to the north entirely. And the Hausa man resides everywhere in Nigeria. We make huge sales in Lagos than in Kano. This is interesting. The Hausa paper sells more in Lagos than Kano, the heart of. So the fight should be, the ministry should extend its reach and constant interaction with the people on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We see, when people hear restructuring, they think you are going to sack. No, we're not. We are restructuring the NOA, that National Welfare Agency, to meet what is our own agenda. But it is the only structure on ground today that has that reach. Well, the structure is there, but it's empty. Because we have at least what we call a chief mobilizing officer in each local government. 774 of them. And they are the most effective ways of reaching the people. But they have not got the tools. Many of them don't even have a laptop. Many of them don't have anything to work with. That's why I say we are restructuring them, because you cannot send them to work without giving them the equipment. So it will take quite a while. But when we come up with a bank, they are the ones we are going to use for this, mass mobilization. Thank you very much. For please, whatever ideas you have to, please forward it to us. No, we can definitely use them.
So we want at this stage to say a very big thank you to the leadership Hausa for receiving us and according us these courtesies. At this stage we have come to the end of our courtesy visit, but we invite the management